In this lesson, we're going to use the wrap tool. We're also going to make a custom pattern to give ourselves that grill mesh in the front. Now, to start off, I usually like to make a plane that kind of comes off the front. It's just easier to see the sketch that you're making. So go ahead and drag a plane right in front of your speaker. Go ahead and make yourself normal to that. All right, so we're going to open up a sketch in that. Usually what I like to do is I like to start in the center line area, and you'll be able to pattern outward and downward later on. So I'm going to start with one of these corner rectangles. I'm going to use the parallelogram. I kind of want to make a chevron kind of style pattern for this. So go ahead and make that. And again, we're going to use some reference points. We're going to use this construction line right here in the center to mirror what we're making here to complete that chevron style. So go ahead and select that sketch. And we're going to mirror. And now we have a chevron. And again, you can come in here, you can play around with this. You can make it bigger. But having that mirror relationship, it'll stay the same on both sides. So once I have a look that I like, I'll go ahead and select all of these sketches besides the center one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some linear patterning. So go ahead and hit your pattern. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get this to a point where the gap is the same as what the gap is happening in between the chevrons. So that might be a little bit too much right there. Might have to go down to 3.5. That looks pretty good. So now that we have those two, we'll select those. And then we'll mirror those using that same reference tool. Now that we have all those, now we can pattern those all the way down. We're going to use this other axis to do that. Now at this point, there's so many sketches going on. What you want to do is just go ahead and put a nice big number in there to get yourself started. So I'm going to need at least 80 of these. So I'm going to go ahead and come down here towards the bottom to see how far they've traveled. It looks like I went a little too far, so we'll come over here and shorten it a little bit. You also want to make sure it's pretty close to what's happening up here. That's pretty close to the edge there. I think I'm pretty good. So I'm going to hit OK. And now we have our pattern to wrap around this front grille. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this sketch. Now that we have our pattern that we're going to make into our grille, I'm going to go ahead and select the wrap tool. Now you just have to select the face that you want to wrap it onto. And you can also scribe, you can emboss, you can use all kinds of different methods over here. So we're going to go ahead and pick that. Once that face is picked, go ahead and hit OK. This might take several minutes depending on how fast your machine is. So now we have our impression from that wrap tool. Now you can see it made a really, really cool pattern in the front there for our speaker, a little bit of a retro look. And for our next steps, we'll be making the base.